Good morning, everybody. What is today? What is today? Tuesday. It's Positive Tuesday, of course. Today, December 8th, 2020. Representative Romaine Quinn will be joining us in about 15 minutes or so as our special guest today. For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden, and you're watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by ICAA. It's no secret that in 2020, essentially 2020, oh my goodness, I don't even want to get into 2020. It's been a very difficult year for a lot of people, including small business owners across Wisconsin. Each community within our rural areas feels the impact of a small business closing their doors due to COVID-19. And ICAA's business development program is aiming to do what they can to ensure that businesses have the tools and resources that they need to survive this harsh economic shift. Common business assistance from ICAA includes one-on-one consultations, resources, and tools at no cost to small businesses owners or aspiring entrepreneurs, as the overall goal of ICABD is to ensure individuals who make Wisconsin unique have the help they need to be successful. More information can be found on the Facebook page searching ICAA JBD or their website, IndianHeadCAA.org. And I even put something up on our website this morning at DrydenWire.com that has a lot more information. So let's get right to it. Fitzy, good morning. 17 days left of Christmas, buddy.
All right, that's good. See, another positive. We're almost done with 2020.
That's how we like the start right away. Good morning, Jamie and Mark and Jody. And Laurel, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Fitzy, how are you? How was your week? It's been a couple of weeks since last week we were off. We'll get into that in a little bit as to why, but how was your last couple of weeks?
Really good. I'm pretty excited. High school hockey starts tonight. My son plays for high school hockey, and so I miss high school basketball because my daughter graduated, but tonight's opening and some fans get to come to the game, so we're doing very limited fans get to come to the game, but high school hockey starts. My son's a sophomore, so pretty excited about tonight, and it's got a few games this week. We're back in the flow of high school, and again, thanks again to our teachers who made it through last week of a lot of online learning, and maybe a question we have for Romaine about what he thinks about all that. So if he's taking notes, there's a question, and see what he thinks about that. I mean, I know we want our kids back in school, and our schools have done a fabulous job. And I think most schools in the county, I believe there's still one or two that are out this week or for at least another day or two of online learning. So just a big thank you to all that. So other than that, pretty quiet weekend. We've had some calls and some incidents, so we'll probably talk about that next. Well, how about you? What have you been up to?
Not much. I was literally thinking this morning, because I'm like, all right, so every week we always like to talk about, kind of a personalized a little behind-the-scenes thing about what's been happening in our lives for the last couple of weeks, and I realized I got nothing. And we end up pretty much saying that every time, and considering the job that you have and the job that I have, it's amazing how dull our actual personal lives are.
Well, but I think that's to a credit to everybody, and obviously we'll get into COVID and the number of cases that have gone down. Not that COVID's gone away, but the number of cases has dropped, and I think that's because we're living some boring lives, and that's okay. It's okay to do right now to help our medical professionals out, who we always give a huge shout out to. Right now our schools and our medical professions are the people that need our support the most, and that's what we're here to do, is just to say, hey, let's stop and just smell the roses a little bit, and just thank some people that are doing some stuff. So, that's a credit. Living a boring life is a good thing, and just sitting at home watching TV or putting up your Christmas tree or doing whatever you want to do.
Sorry, I really need to turn my phone off when I'm doing this, because Romaine just messaged about something, and he needs to stop. Romaine, just hold on. We'll bring you on a little bit.
Tell him to ask questions online.
Yeah, there you go. Mike Schaefer had just commented that I missed you guys last week, and Mike, of course, CEO or Spooner Health CEO, and he was our guest a few weeks ago. And he's just another example of those people that we need to thank for all the things that they do. And obviously, Mike's not wouldn't be considered probably like a frontline worker, he's CEO, but he is responsible for a lot of those people. We loved having Mike on last time. I know we have, again, Romaine this week. I think right now we have to work out some technicals, but I believe that that's you. Burnett County Sheriff Tracy Finch will be on next week as a guest. And then our Christmas week show, I think we're going to have a superintendent on to kind of walk us through how this all went for schools. And I'm sure there were some hiccups along the way. Where are they now? What does it look like going into 2021? And then potentially, let's just assume for a minute, COVID is, I wouldn't say gone, but it's full class. Everyone's back. Let's say fall of next year. What does that look like? Because not homeschooling. Well, some people did homeschooling, or others, of course, like us, who have done some online, at home and helping them. Listen, I'm not a teacher. Thank you, teachers. Because when my kids go back full time, it's probably not going to be good. It's going to be a reflection of I'm not a teacher. I don't know.
I had that conversation with one of my deputies who needed a day off, and we have some forced days that people can take. So he took his forced day, and I said, "Oh, what are you going to do? Go and do something?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm teaching my kid kindergarten because their school was online last week, so he had to take a day off of work to teach kindergarten." And he said, then we print off these pictures and color, and he said, it's just hard. He said, it's just something I wasn't prepared to do.
Yeah.
And that's interesting from a parent standpoint, because obviously I have two older kids, and one in college and one in high school, so it's a lot easier for me to say, do your work, and I leave for work at the day, day. But having a kindergartner is really stressful on people, and as bosses, and at Mike at Schaefer, and all of our hospital technicians and our teachers, and all of our teachers that have little kids. I mean, we have to think about that as administrators, and that's very tough to do, about how am I going to teach, or how am I going to be a nurse and have a kindergartner sitting at home learning how to color, or learning your ABCs. And we all think we can teach our kids, and we all have realized none of us can teach our kids.
Come to find out, that is not accurate. No.
Right, exactly.
No, say kindergartner again.
Kindergartner?
I've never heard it said that way. Yeah. So I want to also get to, we often talk about words matter. And obviously there has been some stories happening in Barron County. There was a missing 16-year-old last Tuesday, which of course is, I figured out when you had texted or messaged me or contacted me on last Tuesday morning saying can't do the show. You didn't explain why, but I figured, I don't know, something must be going on. And then you sent that press release about 9 o'clock. So I realized that probably what it was. Obviously, we have there was another missing person situation that's going on. Actually, we're going to have a story about up on that later this morning. And then there was an Amish buggy versus truck crash. So I want to get to all those, but first, we always like to do something about words matter. I don't know if you've received anything over the last couple of weeks, but I actually had a very nice email response. It was from actually one of our advertisers that needed something changed, and they needed it changed quickly. And we went through this process, we got it done fast, and they responded with, quote, "We very much appreciate how professionally and quickly you handled this. Thank you so much." Now, first of all, they don't know me, obviously, because I've never claimed to be professional. But it was something that was really nice because like an hour before that, I got a horrible email saying that I'm like a Nazi communist, which, first of all, I think those things are different. And what does that even mean? But, it really sucked my energy. And then just having that one little thing, it was just a short little email response, man, that just made my day. Put a huge smile on my face.
Yeah, I agree. Words really matter, and I'll say the exact opposite. Something that's really not positive that I'm getting old with, and that's one of my other questions for Romaine is how's he going to not having all this hate mail come to him, because there's some people that have really taken to Facebook again and really became negative, and that's got to stop. And I may consider changing our Facebook policy on comments. We can't stop comments. We've talked about that a lot, so we can't just have a page and not have any comments on it. That Facebook doesn't allow that anymore. But some of the stuff that's being said about people and about public health or the sheriff's department or whatever, I mean, it's just got to come to an end. I mean, we just can't allow people to say whatever they want on some of these pages, and some of these people are attacking people and they don't know the whole story, and it's very difficult. And some of it's, the Amish buggy crash was some of it last night, was people were blaming the Amish buggy and it was a very serious crash. It was in Washburn County, so I can't comment a lot about it, but I was the first squad there. I happened to be coming home from Russ County after the search for the Sawyer County person. But the Amish buggy crash involved 5 young
Hold on,
children.
before we get to that, let's wrap up the thing with the words matter part.
Yeah.
And so you were saying there's some people that were commenting on your page, or not just specifically this, but other things. And how do you address that? Because it's not just. I think one part that people may miss is that every time somebody comments, that actually requires time for somebody to actually go through and monitor those comments. So how you can't just block everyone, and like we have our language filter blocked for like strict or something, but people figure out ways around it. It takes a lot of time to do that. So who does monitor your Facebook page? And I looked, and I know you have like this policy, this commenting policy. Clearly, people aren't following that. So who does monitor it, and how much time does that take?
It takes a lot of time, and I monitor it a lot. I mean, we have a lot of people that view it will send me messages about that. Obviously, we're sharing with public health, and a lot of people are frustrated that we post everything that public health does. Well, that's just a Barron County sharing thing. We're not in a silo here. We work directly with Human Services or the Highway Department or whoever. We don't create silos in Barron County. We're all one unit. So if public health posts something, we post it. They have access to our Facebook page rather than me sharing it. So public health accesses it, and we talk with their public information officer, and I work together very closely on a lot of different issues and have for years. And so we talk about who to block. And like I said, you're right. Our filters filter out a lot of that, but it's just, some of it is just mean. And you don't get it. I mean, you can have an opinion, and you get and have an opinion, but I mean, some of the stuff you just can't comment on. And there's a couple people that are on the verge of losing access, and they just create other Facebook accounts and change their name by one letter, and you can go back in and do it. And that's what's frustrating about Facebook, but it's just a way to get information out there. We're not saying that COVID needs to go away or COVID's fake or COVID's real or whatever it is, but we've just got to just relax a little bit. And I think Romaine will agree with that 100% when we get into that. So,
and there's a lot of parallels. We've talked before about your job and my job, even though we have wildly different jobs. But there's a lot of parallels where don't kill the messenger here. Right? We're just simply sharing the information. This is the facts. This is the stuff. This is what's happening. And that's it. So people get weird. So anyway, last Tuesday, you had messaged and said you can't do the show. You didn't say why. And then there's about an hour after when we normally do the show, you send this press release about this missing 16-year-old. Obviously, it's a 16-year-old. It's a minor. And like most things, you really can't get in all the details. But can you kind of walk us through what had happened? And thankfully, the person was found, and how this came to a conclusion?
Sure. Well, and actually, it was Tuesday morning, and actually, he had been missing since Sunday night. And obviously, there was he's 16, so obviously he can function as an adult. Or not as an adult, but makes decisions for himself. And so we had a conversation on Tuesday morning after we learned some information, and we went back and forth a lot. Is this kid just a runaway and just hiding out, or is this kid actually missing? And we had done some investigation on Monday and then Tuesday morning and made the determination that we're going to consider him missing because he hadn't made contact with his family. He hadn't made contact with his friends. He hadn't made contact with some very close friends that normally had contact with. And so we considered him missing. And our fear was that he was outside. It was very cold last week. And that, maybe he went into the woods or was hiding out in the shed or somewhere like that. And so that's why we considered him missing. Well, ultimately, some of that was to put some pressure on maybe if someone was hiding him out, and we put that out there that on the news media that someone will say, whoa, you're missing. You got to turn yourself in if you're hiding in my basement, or a friend let him stay in the basement. And we had gone down that road and checked a lot of friends' places already. And so we considered him missing. His parents were more concerned, that he had been missing for 2 nights. And sure enough, he ultimately was outside in some different buildings, hiding out, and he had just made enough progress, or got himself enough food or enough warmth to survive. But he was outside our fears, but obviously we found him. He came out of hiding, and we were able to we had saturated a certain area we thought he might be, and ended up finding him. But man, it would have taken us a long time to find him if he had stayed hidden. So I'm glad everything worked out in that case. And that's we really went really back and forth. A lot of thought went into, is he missing? Is he a runaway? We had covered all the runaway things, and now we were almost 40 hours into this, and we listed him as missing and changed some things. And if other police had contact, we'd know about it then when you enter him as missing. Things like that went into a lot of account, but he's returned. Everything's good. But again, that's what we were doing last week during the show.
Yeah. And then there is we should have a story on this. I think Joe Morey is working on a story over in Sawyer County that we should be publishing sometime this morning, but there was a missing person in Sawyer County. I know there was a vehicle that I think was found in Rusk County. This is also part of the LCO police department, so there's a lot of moving pieces here. Are you involved in any of this? And again, because it's not Barron County, it's not you're not the lead agency or anything, but is Barron County involved in any of this?
We were yesterday. Our emergency response team, or our SWAT team, was used yesterday. We obviously, part of our SWAT team is members of the Rusk County Sheriff's Department. The Rusk County Sheriff's Department contacted me on Sunday night and said they wanted to do a search of a specific area, and they wanted some trained people. They weren't looking for volunteers to do a search because they were looking for something specific, and they'll get into that when they want to release that. But we were out there yesterday with the Sawyer County Sheriff's Department, Sawyer County Search and Rescue, LCO Police Department, the Rusk County Sheriff's Department, and the Barron County Sheriff's Department. We're all out there. Everybody's working together. I think there's a lot of confusion in this case. He has been missing for like 57 days, 60 days, something like that. And his truck was located in Rusk during the hunting season, or last week, or whatever it was, by a hunter, I guess it was. I don't know the whole details of it. But we were able to search this area. We believe we found what we were looking for. Obviously, we didn't find him yet. He's still missing. But they found some things, and they'll work on that now and try to continue to work together. But that case is being worked on by every department, is working together on that case.
Good.
So, whether there's some confusion, or, again, someone speaking, again, saying something and everybody attaching to that, saying, no one's doing nothing. But
right.
I know the wife was there yesterday. She saw everybody searching. There's always frustration when you're the victim in a case. You never think someone's doing enough for you or your family or a loved one. I understand that, and I get that. But you just can't. I was in part of Rusk County that we didn't even have cell signal yesterday for 6 hours. It's a desolate part of Rusk County, and there's 65,000 acres of property, and we were searching a very small portion of it. But again, I know they're working on it today. We're sending some reports out over. So they're working on it on their end. And all of those departments were represented yesterday. I know there's some questions on here about, were people really working together, blah, blah, blah. And yes, they were. Everybody was working together on this case, and
that's what I've heard as well. I talked to the Sheriff Motec yesterday. He kind of it wasn't for a story, and obviously it was an offline, more of a background conversation. But there's a lot of moving pieces of this, and there's a lot of people involved, in my understanding, and you've just kind of confirmed that as well. That everyone's working together on this. All right, so let's get so we can get Romaine on here. I also wanted to touch on. I got some messages yesterday about, and you had referenced it earlier, and something about an Amish buggy, and I believe there were minors in it in a truck. Is there any updates on this? And I think you had mentioned earlier that this wasn't your county; it was in Washburn, which I wasn't aware of that part. But what do you know, and what can you share?
It was about a half mile outside of Barron County. I happened to be coming home from Rusk County. I was on Highway 48 at Highway M. I was one of the first squads on scene because I ended up being about 6 miles away from it. And it was 5 young kids. It was a bad accident. I think all 5 children are going to be okay, but obviously, it was a very serious accident. There was an arrest made by the driver, by the State Patrol. So I don't know any of those details, but the State Patrol and Washburn County Sheriff's Department handled it, and I hope all those kids. I want to compliment the Birchwood Ambulance and the Lakeview Medical Center Ambulance. We put 5 kids in their ambulances and got them to Lakeview Medical Center, which had to be very chaotic for them, but they handled it very well. 5 young kids with injuries. They did an unbelievable job in their ambulance staff yesterday at Lakeview Medical Center and the Birchwood Ambulance and the Birchwood Fire Department. And I mean, they were just Johnny on the spot. I mean, they were great, saving some kids, and that's what it's about. But a big shout out to Lakeview Medical Center ambulance staff yesterday. They were awesome, and just keep your thoughts and prayers for those 5 kids. And I think everybody's going to be okay. And more details will come out of that because there were some driver factors on the truck that need to be addressed and will be addressed and will probably come out. But that's, again, not my spot to say. I just know about it. But, yeah, thoughts and prayers to them.
Yeah, real quickly, is there when it comes to these Amish buggies, is this something that you have seen in the past where there are those, issues, or, it's kind of like a tractor that's just, going from one field to another, and you had to slow down because they're on the side, but they're not really on the side because it's not a full shoulder. Is this something that it's, okay, like, no kidding, this is happening way too often, or, it doesn't really happen that often?
No, I think there's been a lot of near misses. I would say, some of the comments on Facebook yesterday were about near misses, and there could be some better lighting and some things at night. I think they all have slow moving. They're getting better. We're trying to educate them more with some of the laws, and we do work on enforcing some of that with them, or at least educating some of them with that. So it all works out. But no, it doesn't happen very often. When it happens, it's bad because it's a wooden buggy hitting a metal truck or a metal car. Yeah. So it can be ugly. But again, hopefully they are all doing great. But that was one of the. I haven't been to a bad accident in a long time, and being the first one there and moving kids around, it was a little different. But again, hats off to our medical field again. Unbelievable.
And thank you for everything that you do and what you just did there. You're watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by ICAA, who is reminding you that if you are a business that is feeling the effects of COVID-19, that they're here to help. ICAA's business development program is aiming to do whatever they can to ensure that businesses have the tools and resources that they need to survive this harsh economic shift. For more information, find them on Facebook at ICAJBD or visit their website at IndianHeadCAA.org. All right, so we had a couple other things we want to discuss, and maybe we can hit them at the end or maybe next week. But right now, let's see if we can. I always forget how to do this. Hold on. Yes, add left. I think that's right. Nope, that's not right. Nope, that's not right. Romaine's on here somewhere. Oh, hold on. There it is. Yeah, but that's not right. That's not right.
Sorry, people. I'll get the control.
Do you want me to take the hat off?
Hey, there we go. There we go. Now all 3 of us are on there. Romaine, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. Merry Christmas. I had to wear this because your last guest put on an outfit, and it was kind of ugly, that Vikings jersey. So I figured I'd bring some Christmas cheer since that's neutral.
Yeah, that's a shot at my shaver. Yes.
Well, yours wasn't any better.
What's that?
Didn't you put on a Bears jersey?
No, I did not. No. I like the Bears, but I'm not like a homer or anything. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah. So how are you? You are the representative in the 75th district for what, 3 more weeks?
Oh, pretty close. First Tuesday in January is when Dave Armstrong gets sworn in, and the new legislature. So everyone that would have gotten elected.
Oh, very nice.
Coming up quick.
Yeah, and you've been in politics, I'm sure just about everybody knows you by now, but just real quickly, you've been in either politics or government since, what, 19 or 20?
I was 18 when I first ran. I served a year on the city council in Rice Lake. There was a couple openings, and 4 of us ran, and I was lucky enough to serve in that capacity for a year. And after serving in that, I chose to run for mayor. And looking back, it's just funny because it was Dan Fitzgerald, Chris's dad at the time. And we chat now. We're really good friends. And he always says he's glad I beat him. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be in my seat today. And
wait,
I agree.
Hold on a second. You ran against Fitzy's dad for mayor?
Yep.
That's correct.
I did not know that.
I'm pretty sure Chris did not like me as much back then as he does now.
I didn't know. I'm surprised that Fitzy agreed to have you come on.
Yeah. No,
Wow.
it was a fun experience. Yep.
Oh,
And like I said, did that for 2 years. And that was before Barron County offered 4-year program, so I knew I had to go on and finish school, and did that and graduated in May. And Roger Rivard had lost the seat, and I knew I wanted to get back into politics somewhere, and it just kind of worked out, and that's where I've been the last 6 years. So it flew by.
yeah. And so you announced, actually, if I recall, it was actually during when we still had, it was on our show during an actual, when you were still in person before they started doing this remotely, before Safer at Home and
Right.
everything. You had dropped the bomb during the show that
Yeah, I
not
gave you
seeking
the
re-election.
exclusive.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And the best part was
Yep.
I had no idea it was coming. So I was, I'm sorry, what now? You're not what?
Right.
Because I think a lot of
Yep.
people thought you were, moving up and all this stuff, whatever. So before, hopefully you were listening to Fitzy earlier and you took some notes about things we wanted, to ask you. But you had decided not to run again. Dave Armstrong is now going to be the next representative. You decided to go, I think, into a job in banking or something, but you also do some real estate because anyone who goes to your website sees like your ads everywhere for real estate
Right.
stuff, real estate solutions. So are you still at the bank? If not, are you just doing real estate? And if so, was that what you're going to do now?
Yeah, so that was my original plan. I was approached by a local bank and had an opportunity to go work for them. At the time, my wife and I were planning to have a family here sooner than later, and it was, do I run one more time and then take an opportunity to try to stay home more for at least a while? And so we said, now is the time. We might as well try it. So that's when we decided, and fortunately, we were expecting in March with our first one, so that's pretty darn exciting. We're happy.
Congratulations.
And the local bank opportunity was great. I started there some on the side. Obviously, this job comes first till the end. And it turned out that I had my real estate license for a couple of years yet, and it was just busy enough where I couldn't give that up. So the bank understood, and I chose not to go there. And so that's what I'll be doing full time, which is flexible and allows me to be home, when I need to be. And that was the big thing. It's hard because a lot of my colleagues, they drive home every night. They live an hour from the Capitol. Well, big deal.
Mm.
I have to stay when I'm down there, right? And my body knows, like, if I go down Tuesday and come back Tuesday night, and I got to do it Thursday. As soon as I get in that truck Thursday morning, it's like, you made this trip once. You're not supposed to do that twice in a week.
Right.
And so I always stayed. So it's going to be nice to be home every night.
Yeah, and the best part of babies is, of course, making them. So congratulations on all of that. Fitzy, did you have? Well, yeah, nice. Yeah, very unprofessional here. So I would like to ask you if you have an example of you working with Fitzy on something over the how long you've been in the legislature. Do you have any examples of something that you have worked with him?
None. We really didn't work well together. I'm just kidding.
We never talked.
Yeah, there was quite a bit. I mean, obviously, Chris has his purview of all the issues that affect his operation and how his job works at the county. And then when those issues play in with the legislature, obviously I leaned on him for resources and information, and he was able to help me understand how those issues impact Barron County and other law enforcement. I mean, we're pretty lucky to have, we had your dad, Ben, obviously, and then Chris, and we've had a lot of good law enforcement leadership in our area. We're pretty fortunate. So a lot, I think we learned from each other, maybe just even process wise, like, Romaine, why can't we just do this? Well, it's not that simple because we have to do this, and this first. And it's not always fun, but that's government, right? It doesn't happen right away. So yeah, whether it was, spreading awareness or getting information to other legislators about the methamphetamine epidemic, or trying to get more mental health beds, in our region, maybe not in Barron County, but at least the Chippewa Valley. So our officers aren't spending 10 hours in a car driving to Winnebago or Madison with someone who is in a state of crisis. That's important. And then even when the pandemic broke out, I mean, right away, I had information on what can a county do, what can a county not do when it comes to business closing or other closings. And right away, I text Chris and I said, I have this information that maybe we should all talk. And so Chris was able to set up a meeting that night with, Chairman Oki and Laura Salve from Public Health and Jeff French. And we all chatted as soon as, information came out. And I think those kinds of relationships are important. And that sharing of information is important because it makes us all be better at our jobs. And when we're better at our jobs, it helps people. So
Yeah, and I would agree with Romaine. I mean, you were walking from one meeting to the next meeting, and we were having a meeting in between with all of those people on COVID, and I really thank you for that. And your work on meth, it has made a difference in Barron County. You've helped us get grants. I mean, we've done a lot of work on methamphetamine and really put meth on the map, because it wasn't, if it's not for what we do here and what Romaine does, Milwaukee and Madison don't understand about meth. And he did a lot of education down there for us on meth to say, well, this is a bigger problem. And now they have meth in Milwaukee and Madison, and our programs are being used down there because of Romaine. So again, thank you for your work on methamphetamine and mental health. We didn't get all the beds we wanted to, and that's the frustrating part of both of our jobs, is we don't get everything we want. But you'll probably, like I said to Ben, you probably like getting a lot less hate mail now that you're going to get out of the politics.
Yeah. So what is your, now that when you announced, as soon as you announced it, you immediately see a decrease in hate mail because it's, well, screw it, he's not going to be there anymore.
Oh no. I got the initial, haha, you're leaving, thank God. So that
Nice.
still blocks up the first week.
Nice.
And then, no, with this election stuff going on, I mean, we're getting emails from across the country because apparently I can control the election single-handedly in the state of Wisconsin.
What sweet.
So just this last weekend, I got about another 1,200. So shout out to Erica and Steve, who
Yes.
filter through some of those for me. I have excellent staff.
They are.
Great job for whatever offices they wind up in. But no, it hasn't slowed down, and I mean, things are busy, and obviously we're working with people all the time. I mean, unemployment issues, people are still waiting from April and March and June on unemployment. So our office is facilitating information, to DWD to try to get them their payments. We're getting a lot of emails from beauticians, cosmetologists, barbers, others who applied for that state grant and just didn't get it and never heard a reason why. Why didn't I get it when my friend got it down the street? So we're looking into those issues. So the job never really ends, and that's what people should know too. The legislature hasn't met since April. Well, that's only, meeting on the floor is probably this much of the job. I mean, it's leading up to the floor, what we do in committee, behind the scenes, working with people and helping them through their everyday issues is a vast majority of the time we spend in office.
So how's the real estate market? I mean, obviously pretty
It's
good.
It's busy.
Yeah.
You want to sell, there's not a lot of inventory right now. So,
For people who don't know, when we first started doing some of these shows, I think back then it was my brother and I, we called it the Bat and Men Show for another inside funny reason. But and I had asked, I think around 20 people, politicians, elected officials, business leaders, in about a 3 or 4 county radius, and I'd asked, I don't know, 20, maybe 24 people, and I just said, you know what, it's just a show. I don't really have an agenda, don't know what we're going to talk about, and it's going to be live. And of the 20 or 24, there's only 2 people that agreed and said, yeah, I'll help you out, and so we can work through the kinks, and yeah, I'll do it. And it was the 2 of you. So ever since then, it's like, man, I love the 2 of you, because it was, I mean, that was, if you recall, that was interesting. We had technical issues and audio. I mean, there's so many things that went through it. But what I've always enjoyed, especially, really, the 2 of you remind me a lot of each other. One, you're a Republican, and Fitzy's, is a Democrat. But it doesn't matter about the R or the D. It's let's just get something done, and let's be open and let's be transparent. And if you have a question, I'm going to answer it. So now with the hate mail stuff that you get, or all those things, I'm sure you're not going to miss that. What is the thing that you're going to miss the most? Have you, in 3-4 weeks from now, I think it's the second Tuesday in January is your last day, or when your successor is going to be sworn in, right?
Yep.
Right.
First
So what?
Tuesday.
Yep. So what are you going to miss? And is any point throughout this process you've already said, I made a horrible mistake. I should not have done this. I should stay in.
Dave, that. No.
Right.
No. Part of being able to leave is knowing that someone else is in there and is going to do a good job. And I think Dave Armstrong, he's done an excellent job for Barron County and even the region. He's been an expertise or a resource for other counties too on what he's done. So I'm excited for him to get down there and see what he can do. Because I used to call him, we'd be in committee and the department's trying to pull wool over our eyes. And I'm like, Dave, is this how that program worked? And he's like, no, ask him this. Ask him this. I'm like, well, now you're going to be in that committee and no one's going to have to ask you and you're going to do a good job. So I'm excited for that. It really didn't feel real until election, and it's like, oh, my name's not on the ballot. That's weird. It's been on there for 6 years. But but no, I don't regret it. Like I said, Dave will do a good job. It's time for me to step back and be home some more. I am excited for that, but I will definitely miss being in the know and then just being able to make a difference, because that's why we do our jobs, right? Not just because we love certain aspects, but it's making a difference. It's more fulfilling than other jobs, I think, because you can see the impact you have on people and their lives, and even on the legislative process. And Ben, you and I have talked a long time where people see the bill, but they don't realize what was behind it. Like, how bad was that bill until we killed the amendment, and all the rigmarole and backroom meetings and arguing and arm wrestling on what gets to go in and what doesn't get to go in. And that's where the real impact is, and having someone that can be in those meetings that you trust to know that they're doing the right thing. And I think that's important. I'm going to miss that part.
Yeah, and it's like Fitzy when he puts out a press release. And Fitzy, you can certainly attest to this or speak on this. When you get it, it could be a shorter one, it could be a longer one. But that's not, I mean, that's, like you said, just this tiny little bit. It's all the stuff that led up to the investigation and the moving pieces. And I don't know, Fitzy, if you want to expand on that a little bit, but when you just see the press release, that's nothing. That's just a quick little snapshot, right?
No, there's a lot of work behind the scenes, and Romaine's right. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into it and having those connections. And I agree with you. I think Dave's going to do a great job because he's got connections in Madison already. And that's the toughest part you probably learned when you got down there is like, I got to know who some of these people are. That's tough to get thrown in there.
Right.
And so that's what's really nice about having some connections down in Madison to get some things done right away. And Dave will be able to do that. And again, I think you've done an excellent job, Romaine, for Northwest Wisconsin, and you should be commended for that. And the hate that comes with it. I mean, we get the same stuff here. People don't think you do a good enough job on whatever the topic is. It's a little less political for me than you. But people just got to stop some of that and work together. And you've done I think a great job of bringing even both sides together, even though the Democrats probably won't agree wholeheartedly. There's a lot of issues that, they're separate, but there's a lot of issues that we can work together on, and you did that. So again, thank you for that.
Romaine, give me another story about Fitzy, or something else that you guys have worked together. I don't care if it's like a heavy one or if it's a funny one. I don't care. Just something else, because I want to kind of tie this in a little.
Oh, stories that are Facebook appropriate?
Okay. Or Fitzy, do you have any? Actually, should I ask you, Fitzy? Do you have a situation that you recall working with Romaine on?
No, I just think we've worked together on a daily basis, on any issue that's it's happened. And you have to have that communication. I've called Romaine, picked up the phone, dial him, he answers. And when he calls me, we answer. And you answer those questions just like we have. Romaine's been real like me. I mean, you always say that, we're not afraid to come on these shows and talk about stuff. And to Romaine's credit, he wasn't, because when he comes on and talks about whatever the issue is, education or medical or whatever, he knows that half of the people aren't going to like what he's saying. With me, it's a little bit different because I come in and talk about a press release and people are happy that 5 kids are okay in an Amish buggy. I mean, that's, and when he comes on, he knows whatever he says, half the people aren't going to like it probably. And that sucks for our politicians. And we have to remember that as people, that they're just people too. And a lot of times we think that Romaine's just out there doing this, or what the politician's out doing this. And Romaine has always put himself out there, and that's what I respect about that. And every politician should put themselves out there and be on your show or be on a show, whether it's radio or TV or whatever, because that's how people get information.
Yeah. Well, the two of you have a unique, I've always found the two of you to be unique in this one specific area, and that is, again, one is Republican, one was a Democrat. Granted, it's different types of jobs, but you seem to have, I don't know what it's called, the cross-party votes, I guess, right? I mean, Fitzy, you were very well respected and liked by many Democrats and Republicans, and obviously as a legislator, Romaine probably maybe not as much on the other side just because it's, politics. But you still have a lot of people that are on the Democratic side or independents that do still support you. And, I mean, that's tough to do, especially in today's world where everything is so polarizing and everything has to be so divisive. That's tough to do, and I certainly appreciate the both of you for being able to do that. And I think that only comes from not through words but through your actions, right? And being able to be, like Fitzy said, being transparent and talking about things and working through things. Not a lot of people do that, and certainly not as many as they should.
And that was always my goal every election, right? how many more votes can I get? And how many more cross votes can I get? And I'm fortunate because I think this job is the most localized, important job, right? Because you get to the Senate and you've got 180,000 people. It's hard to make those personal connections. But when you're in the Assembly, you've got a few counties. Well, we had 6 and lots of townships. You can actually know people. It's very hard to get to know who's your representative because it's so big, right? And I think that's why I've enjoyed the Assembly, because it's important enough, but it's small enough where you can still have personal connections that allow you, I think, to cross that party line. So I think every time I try to make sure I beat Duffy and Walker and Donald Trump, and of course I text him and be like, "Hey, I beat you. I got more votes than you." But he
That's
never
nice.
texts back.
All right. I have one more question, and it's for the both of you. And that is, Romaine, would you ever want to do Sheriff Fitzgerald's job? And Fitzy, would you ever want to do Romaine's job? Whoever
No.
wants to answer.
No
No,
chance.
that's it? Romaine, why not? Why wouldn't you want to be the sheriff?
Well, one, I'm not qualified. And
All right,
two,
let's start there.
yeah. And two, just some of those issues. I mean, I'd rather be in a back room fist fighting over a bill in Madison versus the guy that shows up to the scene.
Actual Fitz fighting. Right.
Right. Well, you joke, like maybe that's how we should settle this bill, but no. But, I'm not one that I think I'm kind of an emotional person, so I don't think I could show up to those scenes and do that, where our officers can try to shut that off a little bit, do their job, and obviously deal with that in their own way later. But I don't think I'd be able to do that. It's just that's
I agree.
something I couldn't. No.
And I would. I mean, while I have thought about it, I don't think I love what I'm doing. I like making the difference here. I like to have the connections with Romaine and now Dave, and to get some things happening. But now I'll more than likely stay local too, because I just like the local feel that Romaine talked about. I like making the difference here. I plan on being the sheriff for at least one more term, if not 2. If the people elect me, obviously we're obviously at the will of the people, but we'll keep doing what we're doing and making a difference here, and keep as long as our deputies go home safe at the end of the shift. That's what really matters, and the people are safe. But again, Romaine, this is the last time you'll maybe be on a Ben show unless you do your own. And again, thank you for the work you've done over the years, from city council to mayor to the 75th district, because we owe you for that, and I really appreciate everything you've done to try to make a difference for us here in Northwest Wisconsin.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate our time together too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Fitzy, anything else that you want to bring up or touch on that we didn't get a chance to?
No. I mean, obviously, the COVID numbers have dropped. That doesn't mean COVID's ended. We're happy, but it'll be interesting to see what our hospital numbers are at. I know they're busy, but a lot of it is for non-COVID related. But I mean, there's still some COVID people in the hospital. So keep doing what we're doing. We had a good Thanksgiving break. We reduced the numbers. Just keep doing that. Barron County will keep making a difference. And again, I've always looked at this as, we can make a difference in the state of Wisconsin. That's great, but let's concentrate on Barron County, because that's what we're here to do. That's what I'm here to take care of. That's what Laura Flavia is here to take care of, is that stuff. So just continue to make a difference, and stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll be back next week.
All right, and I just thought one more question for you, Romaine. I'm going to put my journalistic hat on, which I never do. Are you ruling out, or have you ruled out ever running for office again?
I don't think so. I mean, this was never part of my plan anyway, right? It just happened that, I graduated just in time to run. If Roger Rivard wouldn't have lost, I never would have ran. If I didn't turn my papers in for city council that day by 4:00, I never would have been on the ballot. I mean, everything's just worked out. So I've never had a ladder I was climbing or a plan, but if it works out and there's an opportunity there, and I think I'm the best person for the job, then I'd look at it. But like I said, it's definitely time to figure out how to be a parent, because I don't know what I'm doing. And
don't worry, none of us do. None of us.
Out there, so
yeah, no, none of us know how to be a parent. That's the best part. You just kind of figure it out as you go. Romaine, thank you so very much. Fitzy, as always, it was a pleasure. Can't wait to talk to you next week. For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden, and you've been watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by ICAA, who's reminding you that if you are a business that is feeling the effects of COVID-19, that they're here to help. ICAA's business development program is aiming to do whatever they can to ensure that businesses have the tools and resources that they need to survive this harsh economic shift. More information, you can find them on Facebook at ICAAJBD or visit their website at IndianHeadCAA.org. Thank you to our guest today, Romaine Quinn, for joining us, and thank all of you for watching. Fitzy, until next week, stay safe, keep your social distance, and as always, have a blessed day.